everybody, welcome back to Tomcat Airguns. Today we're going to take a look at the Evolution bipod by Modular Evolution. This is a pretty unique bipod with some very unique features to it. We're going to get to that in a second after we get through some of the specs. This is their 7 to 10 model. It retails in at around $323 and weight is 13 ounces. Legs have stowed forward, stowed back, 45 degrees forward and back, as well as 90 degrees. It also has the ability to tilt, but no pan. It attaches to your rifle via the quick release Picatinny rail mount right here. And other than that, it's just a really solid bipod. Some of you are familiar with bipods like this that have the push button for the leg release. And I did a review on a bipod a while back that had a push button, but the pivot point bolt was almost the same height as the push button. Well, Modular Evolution did not do that. Their pivot point is nice and flat, so the button's real easy to get to. As I mentioned before, you've got the quick release lever here, which also has this little lock on it, so it won't come out unless you give that lock a little pinch. Once that's unlocked, simply fit it onto your rifle and push it until it's all the way closed. Now you're locked in place. In order to adjust the legs, it's this push button right here. Just depress the push button and your legs go into a different slot. One thing about the leg adjustments I'd like to point out is this recess right in here, which accepts the button, it's got a tapered edge to it. And the button naturally has the opposing tapered edge. So when it clicks into position, it naturally finds the most solid resting point that it can. In order to adjust for tilt, you loosen up this lever right here, and that allows you for a limited amount of tilt. Then just tighten it back down. Nice thing about this lever is if you give it a pull, you can place it wherever you want and still have the ability to make your adjustment. In order to adjust the legs for height, you're going to give this top hat design right here a pull, and the spring's going to shoot the leg out to full extension. Now you notice these ball detents right here. If you give it a little bit of a twist, okay, or land somewhere in the middle, the leg will spin on you, but it's really not made to do that. So when you lock in place, you're supposed to land in one of these ball detents. And it gets there pretty quick. It almost is sloped. It feels like it's sloped to just naturally fall into place and give you that click that says, hey, I am in position now. The Evolution bipod does have spiked feet as an option. And they're quick release as well. So what you're going to do is pull off your original foot. You'll quick release those onto the bottom of this leg extension. And then if you want to expose the spikes, you pull off the rubber feet that come with the spikes. So for about 50 bucks for that set of feet, you're going to have both spikes and rubber feet on you at all times. This is where things kind of get interesting. These legs detach from the base, which means that you can buy longer legs to suit your needs. So if you need something that's tall for a sitting position, they're going to have legs for you there. Not only that, but much like the quick release feet will attach to the bottom of this, you can take legs and stack them one on top of the other and get yourself an even longer bipod if you need to. So they're kind of thinking outside the box here and giving you, options within options. It's pretty cool. When you attach the legs, you want to make sure that they snap into place. Just like I showed you with these extensions, there's little ball detents on the hub system, and that's where your leg's supposed to be. Otherwise, it's either going to fall off or it's going to rotate on you. The quick detach spiked and rubber feet combination costs $50, and the leg extensions, which go from 7 to 29 inches, are going to run you somewhere between $100 and $125 for a set. Modular Evolution didn't just stop with extendable, replaceable legs and feet. They've got another option with this, another accessory. It's a $50 accessory, and it turns your bipod essentially into a tripod. And it's right here. This little guy with this little string here coming off of it. So this is their tripod adapter, and it's going to thread onto anything that's a 1/4 20 thread. So you got a tripod or whatever, some kind of base unit with a 1/4-20, this is going to work on it. Put that onto whatever you've got, your tripod. You take your legs off and put these little stubs in the forward position. It's got to be the forward position, otherwise it may interfere with the tilt option. Sorry, the tilt lever. Just put it through the holes and place the pin in place. And now you've got your gun on a tripod, which for the hunting scenario, this is going to be a nice, super stable shot for you. You still have the option of tilt as well. So that's really nice. Alright guys, here I am at the bench rest position, and I want to see how easy it is to manipulate the bipod from this position. For example, let's say we have to correct for a little bit of tilt. I can do that really easy with this big lever right here. It's really easy to grab, get to. My fingers, my knuckles, they're not running into anything, and I can manipulate the rifle really easily. Not only that, but having this lever and the way this is designed, it allows me to put some level of tension on the tilt. So I can have a restricted tilt, or I can come in and really put some crank on it. And I mean, at some point it will move, but it is just about locked out there. So really nice. As far as putting the legs at a 45, see, I shoot bench rest, guys, and I really like having my legs at a 45. So I can do that. That was tight. And I can come in and oh geez, I'm too low. So full extension, real easy with these legs. It's just going to want to go to that next. And there you go. Now in order to bring the legs in just a little bit, kind of just pulling up on this top hat a little bit and pushing the rifle down against it. It's a little funky, but it works. One thing to be aware of with this short leg model is when I grip this to manipulate the leg length, I'm pulling on this top hat, which is all fine, well and good, but this finger here is wrapped around this upper top hat, and if I squeeze, I can just that easily remove the leg unintentionally. So that's something you really want to be aware of and watch out for with the short leg model. Longer leg models, obviously you're not going to have that problem. Alright guys, the next test I'm going to do is loading the rifle. That's when you have the rifle up against an object, then you're going to be pushing into it. As a reminder, this gun's not loaded, it's got nothing in the magazine, and it's on safe, and we won't be firing any shots today. But let's see how we do for loading the rifle. Alright, so I've got a little bit of slop here, and it's happening, you can actually see the button moving, it's happening back here, and a little bit at the pivot, a little bit here, a little bit there. Every little piece to this system adds just a microscopic amount of slop, which adds up to this. But overall, when you consider all these pieces, it's not that bad. And I'll tell you guys, something that I'm feeling is when this takes the load that I'm pushing onto it, there is a definitive stopping point, and it's like running into a wall with this where it's whack. It's like I am now supported, you know, and you can shoot without any kind of flex going on. So I think that's pretty nice. Now the downside is there's no pan. So if I need to track a target, I'm going to be pivoting off one of the legs in this position. And I could very well run out of room and then, oh, look out. Next up is a barricade shot with my simulated barricade. And in order to remain consistent with my other bipod reviews, I've tried doing this, and it's a very awkward position. I don't like it, but we're going to try it out. And you know, it's with the legs being spread that wide, it's more stable than any of the other bipods I've done this with. It still kind of sucks, but it works for a straight shot. And as I've stated before, I think down is the better way. This is either going to hit this here little forward section, or it's going to land on the base unit, depending on where I land on here for my barricade shot. So that's where I'm at, and I don't need the tilt feature because it's kind of got a wiggly wobbly built in there. But it's so I landed right here on the system, and you know, it's stable, it's solid. There's no flex. It's transferring all that to that pick rail, and it's a really nice barricade unit. All right, guys, here we are in the prone position, and I can line up to take my shot. And if I need more height, a quick lift is going to get me. Oh, well, it slipped out of place there a little bit, but then it went back in. So, and it'll get me back on target, a little more comfortable at a higher position. Somewhere in between, it's going to be just like on the bench, where I got to be careful that the leg doesn't twist. And just check it, make sure it's engaged. And then, oh, I'm a little bit off, so let me correct for tilt, and I'm good to go. Pop, pop. One thing I didn't check was, can I correct for full extension and full retraction? And yep, I can. So what that means is one leg is fully extended, the other one's fully retracted, and I can still hit a level mark with my rifle. It's maxed out though, that's all you get. So as far as sitting and kneeling is concerned, you know, this particular bipod wasn't made for it with these legs, but one of the nice things about this system is if you've got another set of bipod legs in your pocket, you can swap these out for the longer ones to suit your needs, and now you've got your kneeling shot or your sitting shot. So it's kind of nice to have that as an option when you've got such an expensive bipod. It's like, hey, you know what? It's not just made for the short stuff. With another set of legs, I can get the long stuff too without getting a whole other bipod. So guys, I was just reinstalling my legs, and every once in a while this bipod has a tendency to, it looks like it goes on real easy, but it's not. It's like this, it's like getting locked up somehow, and for the life of me I can't figure out what the heck's going on. I'm pulling the top hat down as much as I need to, but it's just this difficulty. Of course, now it's not doing it now that I'm recording, but so I'm not really sure what's going on there, but something weird, something funky, and that's going to come when you've got a system with so many moving parts. Is you might have some little funky kind of thing to deal with. The last test I'm going to do is in order to simulate a stressful environment or a high-speed environment. So what I'm going to do is start with the bipod in the stowed position. I'll bring it down to 90 degrees on both sides, extend the legs fully for a prone shot. Then I'm going to retract the legs. And since this is just really a better barricade shot, I'm not going to manipulate the legs back to the forward position. Once I get done with 2 simulated shots here, I'll come over, I'll put the legs at a 45 for a bench rest shot. Let's see how it goes. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, legs all the way down. That one's hard to reach on the opposite side. And pop, pop. Come up. Now we're going to retract using the barricade. Come in for a shot. Pop, pop. 45 degrees. Here we go, and pop, pop. It's not bad, guys. So one move that's a little difficult with these push button style bipods is getting to that opposing leg and getting that button pressed. It's just awkward having to reach under and around like that, and you don't want to go in front of your muzzle, obviously. So your only other option is to come over here, and now you're taking a gun that was just pointed this way, and you're pointing it that way. And what's over there? So not really a good idea. Another thing is with this one is bringing the legs back in. You saw how I went up on the barricade to push in, and that was really the fastest. That was about my 4th take doing this, and that was about the fastest way that I could think of to get them retracted. If I did it with my hand, it was possible, but the problem is I keep catching my finger in here and I keep pinching myself, and I don't like doing that. So overall, guys, I think the bipod did very well. One thing I want to mention is in every one of those positions, I got a feeling of stability. And like I was doing before with loading the rifle here, it's like I'm hitting a wall, and that wall says, you are stable, and you are ready to fire, and you are not going to move. And I think that has to do with not only the quality of the bipod and the makeup of it, but also the fact that I can lock out this tilt. I can, everything but a mechanical lock. I can get a lot of tension on that. And the fact that there's no swivel adds a little bit to this as well. So guys, I was walking through the woods one day and I spotted my quarry and I want to take a shot at it, but I want to use my tripod, not my bipod. So let's put that system through its paces and do the transition. We're going to see how quiet we can do it and how stealthy we can do it. So guys, here's that difficulty I was talking about, where I just can't get this there. A little bit of a rotation kind of got it to go back onto the bipod. So, all right, let's see how we do with this stalk and transition to a tripod. So it's a little awkward going through all those steps. I'm sure with practice it would become easier, but having the bipod way forward on the rifle is a lot of leverage on this poor little thing right here. Guys, I came into this testing with low expectations for this bipod, and the reason is, one is the amount of slop in the legs. I'm critical when it comes to slop, so take that with a grain of salt, but also when you design something that does everything, it kind of does everything, but not as well as something that does just that one, and just this one, and just that. And this one was a pleasant surprise because it does them all very well. And this slop in the legs that I just mentioned, you know, for practical use, it's really not that noticeable. And I've had bipods that don't do any of this stuff and have a lot more slop in them. So pleasantly surprised. I think it's a job well done. Starting out the list of cons for this bipod is going to be the price tag. At over $300, with $323 for this model, that's a hefty price tag for a bipod. And then if you want to do the accessories such as the tripod mount, which is really cool and works, that's another 50 bucks. You want spiked feet? That's another 50 bucks. So now you just added $100. And although you can get different length legs, they're, what did I say, $107 to $125 for a set of legs. So you're at $325, and then to get the other options, you're at, let's see, $425, $25, $550. You can do a lot with it though. So that is the major con to this. On the pros side, the feet are nice soft rubber and they're going to grip on a lot of different surfaces real nice. You got little teeth in the bottom of them too. The fact that the legs shoot out, I like that because you're only getting about 2 inches of length right here. It's not much. So the chances of me using a midway point on this bipod are pretty slim. So I'd rather just go from stowed to full extension and forget the rest. So I like that the springs are there because then I'm not worried about it. Another thing on the pro side is 45 degrees. I'm primarily a bench rest shooter and 45 degrees is where I live and shoot at. And to me, it's very important to have a 45 degree angle. The lever on the back is nice and big. It gives you something that you can grab and you can crank down on it and really kind of lock this system out. In fact, let's test that right now. Got the bipod installed, nice and loose. Good crank on that. Oh my gosh, that is hard to do. That is a really good lockout system right there. It's not a mechanical lock, it's just shy of it if you give this thing a good crank. The buttons for the leg position adjustments are nice and big, very proud. They stick way up in the air past this bolt, and that's important when you're trying to find them and make those adjustments. While reaching around the rifle was a little bit awkward, I still had no trouble finding that button and knowing I was on it and pushing it. And that's important too. One test I didn't do was to test whether these legs will push back into the legs. This is a solid lock here, guys. It's not going to go back in there. I can stand on this thing and it's not going to retract the leg at all until I want it to retract. Overall, I think this is a really good bipod. Now, of course, I wish it cost a little bit less than it does, but think about this. This bipod is going to give you capabilities that no other bipod out there is going to be able to give you. So you're kind of paying for that. The accessories, I think most of them are pretty much on point. I'd like to see the feet, the quick release feet, come down a little bit in price, but I think everything else is kind of where it should be. Of course, as consumers, we're always hoping for lower prices for everything, but unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. If you're considering the Evolution bipod, I hope this video review has helped you out. You can go check them out over at evolutionbipod.com. As a quick reminder, I'm on Airgun 101, so you can go over there to check out my other videos, as well as a whole bunch of other videos from professional shooters. Another quick reminder, there's many different ways to support my channel. You can buy stickers, you can buy a clock, or you can just send me a donation to say, hey, you know what? Your video helped me. Here's a couple of bucks to say thank you. As always, guys, thanks for watching and happy shooting. Got it on that last one. I got it on that last one. I got it on that.